Hi there. Welcome to learning how to make and present a poster with me, your host, Eileen Moreno. When making a poster, the most important thing to consider is that a poster must be able to speak for itself when you're not around to present it. You need to make sure that everything from your abstract to your conclusion is very clear so someone can understand it all by themselves. Presenting a poster can feel like one of the more challenging things you'll have to do as a scientist. This can be because your audience will have a huge variety in their background knowledge. You may interact with someone that has never heard of your model organism and needs very detailed explanation of your work. And you also may interact with a person that established your field 30 years ago. Presenting a poster may also be challenging because you will interact with many different personality types. And the attention span at a conference can be very difficult to maintain. That is so interesting. Susan! Oh, good to see you, Susan. Haven't seen you in a while. Practicing different lengths and versions of your poster can help you create adaptability in your talk. This way, you can adjust to different types of audiences. Please keep in mind that anytime you present at a conference, you must have all your content approved by your PI. Poster sessions at conferences are where you will most likely encounter free alcohol. Keep in mind, even though the alcohol is available, it doesn't mean you have to drink it. If you choose to partake, please know your limit because you never know who you're going to interact with and who you're going to meet. And you want to be able to put your best foot forward, not your drunk foot. As important as it is to think about how to present a good poster and how to make a good poster, it's also very considerate to think about how you can be a good poster viewer yourself. Here are some things to keep in mind. Tip number 1, don't be afraid to ask the presenter to go slower or faster. Tip number 2, try your best to stay on the relevant topic and not ask offhanded questions. Cool. So you go to Cal State LA. Awesome. What do you think of the Packers? Tip number 3, take in the size of the conference and the culture. Try to be adaptable to the setting. The most important thing to remember about a poster presentation is that it's supposed to be fun. It's an exciting and new environment where you will meet many different people and get to talk about your research. Sometimes they'll even give you great ideas for follow-up experiments you can do when you get back to the lab. I really encourage you to try to relax, have fun, and just see every new audience member as a new opportunity to practice and enjoy talking about your research. Posters are typically made using PowerPoint. The best approach is to ask someone in your lab if they have a pre-existing template that you can use. This is really important because you want to make sure that the font size and some of the headings and the way that things line up within your poster are locked in. This is really important because once you actually print your poster and everything is sized up, you want to make sure that things are legible at that size. The first thing that someone will see about your poster when walking by is your title. Make sure you pick a title that is clear and succinct about your research findings. Also towards the top, you can include your name and all your other authors that have contributed to your work. Most posters are broken up into several sections. It starts with an abstract, goes into background, contains lots of data, and then key conclusions. Many PIs suggest copying the exact abstract that was published in the conference pamphlet. This is entirely lab to lab specific, and it is up to your PI ultimately. The thing that you will start to have creativity on is in your background. I suggest making your background in bullet point format. This way, you don't overwhelm the viewer with too much text, and it's very clear the things and the knowledge that they need to have before moving into your data. I also strongly recommend including schematics so that this way a concept or perhaps a mechanism or pathway can be very clear before they move on. When presenting your data, it can be helpful to break things up into specific figures, similar to the way that you would see in a paper. You can title each grouping of figures and give it a specific name so that each viewer can see what the main takeaway is from that small cluster of data. With each figure, you should also make sure that you include a legend. This is to be very clear with your viewer or your audience exactly what protocols or methods you used and what they are viewing within each of the figures. Again, a really good reference point for this, how to create a figure and how to create a label for it, is to actually look through the literature within your field. Conclusions can be very similarly structured to the way that you structured your background. Making it in bullet point form can be the best way to be clear and succinct with the takeaways that you want your audience to have from your work. It can also be helpful to include schematics of things that you hypothesize from your work and where you think your future directions might take you.